Hi,
Hey,
we're back for episode 4 of the Quirky Book Sirens.
this one is kind of in the spirit of the new year. We both want to read more and catch up on our reading. And we're going to do that by discussing some of our favorite all-time quotes from books that we just like really love. We were just talking about this before the camera started, but not all books have good quotes, but some really do, and they really speak to us. So, Sheila, did you want to get started on your first book? And we're going to talk a little bit about what it means to us.
Sure, the fact that a book doesn't have good quotes doesn't mean that it's not a good book. It's just
That's a
that
good point. Yes.
it just means that maybe the author isn't as great at writing catchphrases and catch sentences, you know what I mean? Or maybe isn't the most poetic writer, but that doesn't mean they're not a good writer.
Good. That was a good thing to add.
Yes. Because I've read some books too that have great quotes, but actually aren't good books.
No, I agree with you. I agree with you.
So, um, so the past year, I've really started to collect a lot of quotes again. There were tons from when I was younger, but then there was kind of a gap of time where I wasn't really collecting them, and then I started again, especially with the blog. I've been trying to be a little bit more active with remembering the ones that I really liked. And I would say that I read a lot of books by Risa Nelson this past year, and
Indie writer, right? Yeah.
yeah, she's self-published now. She was formerly published by a publisher. She used to write for Realms of Fantasy as well, which was a big fantasy magazine several years ago. Before I don't know if it's even around anymore, but I used to get it as a kid. But anyways, some of her quotes I think are really, really good. And she's a good writer, and she also has a lot of good sentences that just kind of speak to me. So I'll just read a couple of them, and then I'll explain why I like them. The first one is, deciding who you are isn't something you just do once. You decide who you are every day with every decision you make.
I do like
Yeah,
that one.
yeah, I do
Yeah.
too. I felt it was really fitting for everybody, honestly, because it's not like you decide to be a good person one day. We're constantly making decisions for good or bad, or we're constantly making decisions about our life, our professions, our
Taking
families.
paths, yeah.
Yeah, so I just think that that's a really relevant thing to say, and it kind of struck with me right now because I don't want to feel like I never evolve or something like that. So I want
Yeah.
to keep evolving and hopefully picking
Keep
the right
making
path.
decisions. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, the next one is, if you fail to keep an eye on who you are, you might turn into someone else when you aren't paying attention. And I think that's just a really good, like, self-awareness
Yeah.
um, sentence. Like, just being mindful of the type of person you're becoming,
Yeah.
you know. Because before you know it, you might not be somebody you like. I know that I've gone through times in my life where I didn't like myself as much as I
Yeah.
did at other times in my life.
I think everybody goes through that. It sounds like she's just got she's very insightful. She
Yeah.
understands humanity, the
Hmm.
human nature. Yeah.
Yeah. She has so many good ones. Let's see. She said, there's another one from The Dragon's Egg. Um, these are all from The Dragon's Egg, which is one of her books.
And this is fantasy, right?
This is fantasy, yeah.
Yeah, which I always think is cool when you find really deep meaning within the fantastical. Like
Yeah,
that's
it was
just
young adult fantasy, I believe.
yeah,
So, I mean, it's just because it's fantasy doesn't mean it's not real literature, people.
yeah,
Um, and so they came to claim what was theirs, bashing, thrashing, and crashing like gods. I feel like that is such a poetic sentence.
yeah,
And um, so it doesn't like mean anything to me. I just thought it was really pretty.
yeah.
Then she does these ones about like there's a lot of blacksmithing in the book, but the one that from the Dragon Slayer's blacksmith, um, Astrid the Dragon Slayer's blacksmith, which was actually like a novella type of thing. She
Yeah.
says, "Iron is like anyone you'll ever meet. Everybody is strong in certain ways and weak in others. When you hammer iron, you shape and mold its strength. The slag you hammer out of it, that's nothing magic. Slag is just the weakness in the iron coming out."
Yeah.
I just like how she takes
It's metaphorical.
it's
Yeah.
metaphorical
Yeah.
and how we shape ourselves and how you shape iron. I just think that's it's once again, like you said, very insightful into humanity.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, I've
Maybe I
read
should read her. Yeah.
what? Yeah,
I
they're
said maybe
really
I should read.
good. And these are self-published and these are
Yeah.
fantastic. You would not even know these are self-published. She's one of the self-published writers out there that really understands how to self-publish.
Yeah.
So she's a really good writer. I
Which is a
really
topic we should do for some time. I actually, you're talking about her, and it reminds me of this middle grade novel that I actually edited for one of the authors at Book Trope, Kelly Hess, and he writes fantasy, but it's middle grade. And I wish I'd looked through some of the his manuscripts because he had some amazing quotes. I remember like marking them in the margins, being like, "Oh, I love this." So now I wish I'd done that for the episode. But oh well, maybe next time I can add those. Is that her last quote, or do you have more from her?
there's a couple more, but those were the ones that were really meaningful to me, so I'll leave it at that. Don't want to overkill it. And go read Risa Nelson. There
All right,
you
I'll
go.
do one now. You just plugged her. She's gonna love you. No.
Yeah.
Um, okay, so one of my favorite authors is Alice Hoffman. She does magic realism, and I've always loved that. I wish I could replicate that style of writing, but that's not me. Um, so this one book I read a year or two ago. It's called Green. Well, it's this is the one it's from is Green Witch, and it's two novels combined. But it always really spoke to me because I'm married, and marriage can sometimes be a struggle. But I just love this. So it was um, because love is an act of will. You think it will just happen, but you have to make it so. Even when it's gone wrong, wait and see. If love doesn't come to you, you have to go find it. I don't know. It always really spoke to me. I thought it was really beautiful.
I have to read more. I have to read Alice Hoffman. I have not actually finished any of her books.
What about practical magic?
I haven't finished it yet.
What
I
is wrong
know,
with you?
I know, I know, I know, I know. And I like got halfway through and then I got distracted, so I have to restart it. I know. It was
Well, this
good.
one's
I
actually
liked what I was reading.
this one is like her. I think this is her young adult. So you should. I mean, and most of her stuff is not considered young adult. You should read that one. I mean, if you want to read something quicker. But she's an amazing author. I'm disappointed.
I,
Practical Magic. I
I'm
gave to
sure.
you like
I know. I
years
have it
ago.
on my to be read list over again.
Okay, I have another one from her. I probably could have a million, but these are the ones I have written down from a while ago. This one is The Dove Keepers. Am I holding it up? Yeah, The Dove Keepers, which was actually a little bit different for me in her usual. It was outside of her usual norm at the time when it came out because it was more of like a historical fiction. Um, but I love this one. It says, "They say that women cannot know the ways of our God, but I have seen his truth with my own eyes. Our God knows all and sees all and has as much compassion for the sparrow as he does for the hawk that hunts it across the sky. Before him, everything disappears in the wind. If you place a handful of grain on a rock and turn your back, it will fly away. If you leave a sparrow in a tower, it will not be there when you return. If you ask a hawk for mercy, your words will be rendered mute."
It's very pretty.
It's beautiful, and uh, because I've always been very interested in like all sorts of different religions, and this is um, it follows mostly like Judaism. But I just thought it was really beautiful, very spiritual, and
Mm-hmm.
I've always like for me I've always connected the spirituality with nature. So those kind of analogies kind of all went together. Would you
Yeah,
like to go next for your next one?
I do need to read her.
Yes, you do.
Okay, so I just finished Jane Eyre again. It's not the first time I've read it.
I've
But
read it a couple times.
when I was younger, I really loved a lot of the love quotes in them. But this time, I don't know. Those weren't the quotes that I really connected with. So I'll just read. There's just two that I just want to
You're
talk about. What?
because you're older, you're not some Moon Knight teenager.
When I believed in soulmates and things like that. Okay. Um, so this is the one. Um, after for the people who know the story, or I don't want to spoil it. People haven't read the story before. Granted, most people
Well,
already
is it
know it.
gonna? First of
Okay.
all, it's Jane here, so it's been around forever.
Okay. Well, once she finds out Mr. Rochester's secret, uh, and she's heartbroken. Let's put it that way. Sh they're talking to each other, and Mr. Rochester says, "I see a white cheek and a faded eye, but no trace of tears. I suppose then your heart has been weeping blood." Um, that spoke to me just because, like, I remembered my first heartache and stuff like that, and I didn't cry a lot, but it was like,
Remember?
yeah, I'd been with the person for a lot of years, and people thought my reaction was strange. But I wasn't crying. I was crying inside. I just wasn't showing
Yeah.
it so much on the outside. So I kind of
Yeah.
felt like heart was has been weeping blood was very fitting for me. Um, and then this one is just her kind of talking to herself, and she talks about how this is her quote: "Life, however, was yet in my possession. With all its requirements and pains and responsibilities, the burden must be carried, the want provided for, the suffering endured, the responsibility fulfilled." So this was at a dark point in her life,
Yeah.
um, but she's saying she must carry on, you know, and I thought it was really quite moving.
Yeah, I feel like our inspirational quotes for the new year are all kind of depressing, but I like them anyway.
What
All right,
can you do?
um so I'm big into nature writing and I tend to find tons of quotes from nature writers, but one of my all-time favorites is from a Pilgrim at Tinker Creek by Annie Dillard, who I love, and I can't even find my copy anywhere. But this one, I mean, I think it's pretty famous, but it's also always one of my favorites, and I was like highlighted in my book. And so it's the universe was not made in jest, but in solemn, incomprehensible earnest, by a power that is unfathomably secret and holy and fleet. It's again, I think the spiritual kind of tying into nature um, quotes and books and stuff always kind of grab me in because I don't. I've always. I don't. I just always. I've always equated nature with spirituality. So again, that's that same theme. But yeah, I always thought that one was really cool. Here, I'll do one more because it's another nature one. It's from The Age of Missing Information by Bill McKibben. Um, and that one's another really awesome book. And here's the quote. Okay. It's all that information offered by the natural world suggests that somewhere between the meaningless of lives lived in destitute struggle and the emptiness of life lived in. I can't read right now. Let me try again. All that information offered by the natural world suggests that somewhere between the meaninglessness of lives lived in destitute struggle and the emptiness of lives lived in swaddled affluence, there is daily, ordinary life filled with meaning. Excuse me being unable to read right now.
That's a
But
little bit like Fuzzy Wuzzy was a bear, you know? Seriously, if you actually
but
look
it's
at
probably because I mean it's so beautifully put together that it's also like hard to read.
it. Yeah.
Anyways, I like heavy quotes like that. I think they're pretty cool. Do you have any more?
Um, yeah, okay. There's a couple more, and then I'm kind of out of quotes for right now. And these
Okay.
are the quotes that I've only accumulated over the past year. Um, I've been reading a series by Max Fry. It's kind of strange. It's a Russian writer who um, the books are by her character. So Max Fry is the character in the book, and so the author of the book is Max Fry, but it's actually that's not the name of the author. It's some Russian. I can't even pronounce her name, so I'm not even gonna try. But you can look it up on our website. It's written there. Um, and in the third book that I just finished reading, one of the quotes was, "There is no such thing as a happy human life. There are only people, some people, who are dumb enough to consider themselves to be happy or to die happy." And that's depressing. I understand. But
You
at
gonna
the same...
cry?
No,
You
no,
looked like you're a little choked up there for a second.
no. But I just thought, you know, I guess mine's all about life is... A lot of my quotes are about life is a struggle.
Yeah.
Sorry, people.
Really uplifting for the new year.
But I do really like that one. And, you know, whatever. Anyways, moving on to something a little bit more poetic. Um, I read We Are Wormwood by Autumn Christian. Um, this wasn't for me. This book wasn't for me. But what was really great about this book is she is a beautiful poet. And she had some great imagery. And one of the things that I did love that she said was, once you invade someone's dreams, you're a part of them forever. For the rest of their life, they'll be spitting out little pieces of you. I just really liked the idea of that, you know?
It's a little magic realism in the way she put it together.
She's this one where I think something like, um, I can't, it's not a perfect quote because I don't remember exactly, but it was like slicing ribbons into my skin or something like that.
Yeah.
And I just loved the imagery of, the slicing being a ribbon type of
Yeah.
thing. Just very artistic in a way.
It's visual. It's visual. I can't speak tonight. It's visual writing.
Yeah, she's a very visual
Yeah.
writer.
Yeah.
And I really like that about her writing. The story itself just wasn't up my alley, but I'm sure other people will love it. I know other people did. Um, and and I think the last one on my thing is I just kind of like this Taste the Sarcasm When It's Poured on Your Tongue by Alec John Bell, who wrote Forbidden Darkness, which was a paranormal young adult. I think that's what his
And he's
genre.
only like
I
17.
know, I know. That was a great little sentence there. So I really liked that.
What was it again?
Taste the sarcasm when it's poured on your tongue.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have a little bit of a
That
sarcastic
makes me
person
think of
inside of
like
me,
that.
so
Yeah. Makes me think of Bruce or something.
so
All right. I have another one from a pretty famous book, but it always really spoke to me because this like basically happened to me when I was like just first turned 30. It says I am 90 or 93, one or the other. Oh, sorry. It's from Water for Elephants by Sarah Gruen. It says I am 90 or 93, one or the other. When you're 5, you know your age down to the month. Even in your 20s, you know how old you are. I'm 23, you say, or maybe 27. But then in your 30s, something strange starts to happen. It's a mere hiccup at first, an instant hesitation. How old are you? Oh, you start confidently, but then you stop. You were going to say 33, but you're not. You're 35, and then you're bothered because you wonder if this is the beginning of the end. It is, of course, but it's decades before you admit it.
I love
When I
that.
first, I do
It's
too,
so
because when I first,
true too.
well, I started forgetting my age when I turned 30. So I'm like, and all my friends, I don't even know how old they are
No,
anymore.
I know. It started a little earlier for me, at around like 28, 29. I was like,
Uh,
am I 28? Am
not
I
in my
29? And now
Yeah.
definitely I'm like, am I 30? Am I 31? Am I 32? Like, I
Well,
don't remember.
it's like Ron, I'm always like, wait, I got to do the math because I know how the difference in age between us. And I'm like, okay, how old is he?
Yeah. It
It's
happens though. It's
bad.
very
And
true.
so it spoke to me. That was like, and it's like I think it's like the first paragraph in the book.
Yeah. No, I like that. I've read that since you posted that. I've actually read it several times, and I'm like, oh my god, that's so true.
It totally is. Okay, and so here's one from A Walk in the Woods, which is one of my favorite books. And it's my husband. My husband like listened to me laughing about it listened to me laughing at it when we were dating and was like, I got to read that. He's not a huge reader, and he read it, and so it has special meaning to us. So I'm just going to read one quote. The whole thing is, though, awesome, I gotta say. This one's a little more meaningful. A lot of stuff is really funny, but there's a lot of great information in it. Um, Distance changes utterly when you take the world on foot. A mile becomes a long way. 2 miles, literally considerable. 10 miles, whopping. 50 miles at the very limits of conception. The world, you realize, is enormous in a way that only you and a small community of fellow hikers know. Planetary scale is your little secret. Life takes on a neat simplicity, too. Time ceases to have any meaning. When it is dark, you go to bed. And when it is light, you get up. And everything in between is just in between. It's quite wonderful, really. There was a time where I wanted nothing more than to hike the Appalachian Trail, especially after reading his book. Now I'm like, I don't know about that. I have a child. Doesn't seem as appealing anymore, but I still think it's pretty neat, that the idea of doing it. I think it would be an amazing experience. And I have one more. I wanted to add an indie author to my repertoire. This is a book by an indie author. Her name is Iva Kennes, and it's actually a quote from one of her characters, but I think it was so funny, and this character was just awesome in the book. He was hilarious, and he stood out, and the characterization was awesome. And so the book's called My Melancholic Diary. It's probably more young adult, but it's the girl's father is kind of just a character, and he would always say to the girls when they went to restaurants, never stand under the chandeliers, girls. One never knows when they fall. Let it fall on the degenerates, not you. I just thought that was always funny. There was a lot of humor in the book from the dad, and I thought that was just such a great line. So I think that's it, right?
Yeah, we should talk about.
I know. We're going to have to do this again because I need to pay more attention as I'm reading now. I haven't really paid as much attention to quotes. Maybe next year.
That's your New Year's resolution, right?
Yeah. All right, we want to talk just quick, just in the spirit of the new year, on what books we want to read this year. You want to go first?
Yeah, I'll start. That's fine. Okay, so this has been on my to-read list for a while now. I should say that I'm obsessed with Scotland, all things Scottish. So I don't know why this took me so long to get around to starting to read. But I am committed to starting the Outlander series by Diana Gabaldon. Sorry if I butchered her name. I started watching the show too, which I'm so excited about because I got it for Christmas. And I'm starting the book, which is already starting to be really good. And I can't wait to finish it so that I can read her other ones, and hopefully I can kind of plow through these this year. That's my big to-do list.
You might have to give those to me because it kind of looks interesting to me.
Yeah, so it's a lot different than I thought it was too, but so far it's really good. I also want to read the classic, The Princess Bride. I have actually never read this book.
I just read an article about it. It might have been on Tor.com. And now I actually the other day after reading the article, I was like, I should really read the book because
it's kind of funny actually. I pulled it from.
Well, the movie's funny. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why I was surprised, but I was like, oh, it's kind of funny. And so this is on one of my classics. I guess you can consider it, in my opinion, to start reading, by William Goldman.
I want to read all the books you want to read too.
And this is a comic book, actually, that I want to start plowing through. I read them in college, but I didn't read a lot.
There's kind of a glare. What is it?
Yeah, it's got a cover. I haven't taken it off yet. It's called Fables by Bill Willingham, and it's a graphic novel. It's very popular. Came out in the, I don't know, mid or early 2000s, I think. I don't know, don't quote me. Anyways, it was popular when I was in college. And it's starting to become popular again, and it's about fairy tales and a twist on fairy tales. So it kind of fits you. Anyways, I think
I like that stuff, yeah. I'll be taking from your pile. Okay, so I really have been wanting to forever. I need to buy it still, but The Soul of an Octopus by Cy Montgomery. I read like it was a study on like their emotions, and I've since stopped eating like squid and stuff like that, or like
Oh,
I'm sorry, I stopped eating calamari because they're supposed to be really intelligent. So I was like, yeah, I don't want to eat, so I don't eat calamari anymore, and I haven't even read the book yet, but I really want to because I'm excited about it. I think it sounds really
oh,
neat.
I think you mentioned to
Yeah,
me earlier. Yeah, okay, I remember you said something about that. Yeah, you'll have to tell me if it's any good or is it
but
terrifying.
it's on my list. It's like actually on the top of my list because I think it sounds really interesting.
Hmm.
Um, I have had this here for a while now, and this is The Museum of Extraordinary Things by Alice Hoffman, one of my favorite authors, obviously. I need to I have to read that. I also have, is it here? Did I have? Oh, First Frost by Sarah Addison Allen, which is the sequel to Garden Spells. And I need to read that, and I have that one. And then I'm so behind my reading. And I also want to finish the Undead series by Mary Janice Davidson, which is a great chick lit vampire paranormal. It's like chick lit and paranormal combined, and it's awesome. And it's funny and it's great. And then The Goddess Within by Iva Kenna, as I mentioned her before, but she's actually she sent me her book. I need to read it because I got to review it. And then and I read her first book in that kind of series, The Goddess or The Witch Within, and it was very good. And then there's this guy. There's an author at Booktrope, and he's had this book, and I've been eyeing it for a while because I think it sounds really funny, and it's called Zeus is Dead: A Monstrously Inconvenient Adventure by Michael Moons, and I Mons or Moons, sorry, and I really want to read that one because I think it sounds like kind of up my alley. So that's my short list.
Yeah, I have about what like 40 books on my Kindle that have to
Yeah,
be read too, but
that's the short list.
those are the ones that have to get read.
The list is longer, yeah, but
Yes.
those are kind of the top.
Yeah.
The top one. So, anyways, well, thank you for joining us. Anyone that did, that was it, right?
Yeah.
We
Yeah, yeah.
okay.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah, if
Okay.
you're listening and tell us what books you're looking forward to reading for this coming year. We're
Oh,
always
and share
interested.
quotes.
Yeah, and
Share
share
quotes.
quotes.
I would love to hear more quotes. I love quotes. Everybody loves quotes.
Yeah. Love to hear new authors to check out too. So, thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
Later.